To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. I'm typically not a type of guy that looks for clues from the divine that I should be doing something. But today, there was too many coincidences for it to be a coincidence. Today, I was thinking about making a video showing you me finishing up the well house. I was going to put in some stakes so it won't fly up. I was going to put some posts here so it would hold it a little bit more secure. I was going to paint it. But then I asked Carolyn, I said, do you think maybe I should talk about the Colonial pipeline shutdown as a result of the dark side hackers? I'm not the kind of guy that actually kind of does those kind of videos, but some about YouTube, they say that if there is a news event or an event that affects your niche of your channel, you should take an opportunity to leverage that information. I was all over the place on that today. I was like, nah, I'm not going to be fear-mongering. I'm not going to do what the preppers do. Oh, the world's coming to an end. I'm just not going to do it. But there was just too many things saying, hey, you probably should do this. One, it is extremely cold out here, and I've been dreading coming out all morning to work on this thing. You know, my hands are going to be out there in the paint, and I'm going to have to be in the water, and I just wasn't looking forward to it. And then a longtime subscriber, I don't even consider him a subscriber. I mean, he's a Facebook friend. I talk to him all the time. His name's John. He said, boy, it's already happening regarding the Colonial pipeline. Because just a few days ago, I talked about what if the gas prices went up $10 a gallon, how would I deal with it? And then right after that, I was scrolling through Facebook, and I'm a member of this YouTube group. They talk about YouTube and how to grow your YouTube channel. And one of the commenters asked a question, and the guy who runs it, the guy who runs the Facebook page, actually has a YouTube channel telling people how to grow their channel. He said, never miss an opportunity to leverage an event that affects your niche. And then I was messaging my dad who lives down in Florida, and he says, boy, there's rumors around here that the pipeline could affect our gas. So I filled up my motorcycle and my truck, and I'm not going to drive around very much to see what happens. And then just out of, I don't know where, YouTube sent me a video showing this reporter driving around one of the Carolinas, I don't know. And they're showing that the governor has signed an executive order declaring a state emergency. And the Carolyn's starting to read articles where they're limiting the amount of gas and gas lines are filling up. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe I should talk about gas prices again and gas shortages. But I don't want to. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. And I'm not a prepper. And I'm not a fearmonger. I try to inspire you to live your dream. But if you're watching this channel, my suspicions are you would like to live off-grid. So I guess I need to take that into consideration. Instead of just showing you how to live off-grid, if you're wanting to live off-grid, maybe it's my job to kind of guide you into that direction. I'm not a prepper. A lot of people say I am. I'm not. I don't consider myself a prepper. I do not store anything. I don't have the room for it. I live in a tiny house. But I think, like a lot of my commenters will say, I'm probably the most prepared out of all the preppers. I have 7 years of firewood right here. I say I don't store anything. The only reason I'm storing this is my retirement fund. But if something did happen and I couldn't cut down any more trees because I didn't have any gas for my chainsaw, I could last a good long while. All the while, maybe I could be out there chopping down trees with an axe. I wouldn't like the job. I really wouldn't like the job, but I could do it. I can pick up deadfall. Over time, I would start accumulating. Hopefully in 8 years, I could accumulate enough to keep me going. I hope whatever national crisis we'd ever have wouldn't last 7 or 8 years. So I'm trying to find a balance between my ethics of not trying to scare everybody and not try to live in conspiracy theories, and on the same time say, okay, what's the harm in an off-grid channel talking about things that are affecting things that could affect the off-grid life? So in all honesty, when I heard about the pipeline, now remember, I don't get a lot of news. My news is very sketchy. And so when I heard about it, I didn't know what it was going to really affect. So I think that was on Saturday. Don't quote me. I don't remember exactly what day I heard about it. But I said, hey, Carolyn, why don't we go to the gas station tonight and go ahead and fill up the truck, because it was like half full. And I had one 5-gallon gas can that needed filled, which I was going to fill that anyways. So now all my tanks are filled. Like the lawnmower is full, the generator is full, the push mower is full. Now, gas is one of the biggest problems for me, and food, but I'll get into food later. One of the biggest problems for me, because I still rely on gas pretty heavily, and I wish I didn't have to. I just don't know any other way around it. I mean, I could do things manually, and I've talked about that before. I've cut this entire yard with a sickle blade. I swung it back and forth. When we first moved here, all the weeds were just as tall as those weeds back in the woods there. Tall as this. And I sickle blade all of that down here where the solar panels are. It can be done. It's a lot of work, but it can be done. So I don't need the lawnmower, although it sure does make things easier. The generator, I'm off and on about. Just a couple of days ago, I made a video where I was talking about the generator. They say there's a shortage of generators. And so I was trying to figure out what should I do if I can't replace the generator that I have, if it were to ever break down. This one's 2 years old. So what am I gonna do? And I decided, well, we'll just add more batteries to the battery bank. And if I had to, I could literally go out and do that today. I could go buy 2 or 3 more batteries and I'd be okay. So I think we got the electric down pretty good. So the solar panels, even on a cloudy day like this, is doing a really good job charging my battery bank. Now, each morning I get up and I have anywhere from 12.3 to 12.4 volts. And so right now, the refrigerator is running. You can hear the inverter humming. So that means electricity is actually being taken away from the batteries. And even on a cloudy day, I have 12.8 volts. Now, when the refrigerator shuts off, this will shoot up a little bit. This might actually be higher. Yeah, I got 13.1. So right now, I have enough energy coming from the solar panels on a cloudy day that my batteries will not be harmed today, because you're supposed to get up 13.6 volts every day if you get your batteries down to 12.3. So 12.3 is the low, 13.6 is the high that you got to maintain every day. So we've done that. So I don't have to run the generator. I would like to figure out ways to make this better. Like I said, I'm gonna get batteries and we'd be in better shape. Now, one advantage I do have is the generator that I got uses very little gas. 1 gallon every 11 hours just to charge the batteries. Not bad. It only takes about 3 hours to charge the batteries from 12.3 volts to fully charge, which is 14.6 volts. I don't want to get into all the math. I mean, there's a lot of science behind lead acid battery maintenance, but it doesn't take a lot of gas. So if gas prices shot up to 10 bucks a gallon, or there was a shortage like there is in the Carolinas right now, North and South Carolina, I wouldn't have any worries. Like I said, the truck's full. I can take gas out of the truck. The lawnmower's full. That's 2 gallons I can take out of there. That's 22 hours worth of run time. I only run the generator maybe once a week at the most. During the winter, I run it a lot more, but during the summer, I don't have to run it very much. And that's one of the reasons I want to get batteries. And so then the only thing else I have to worry about is food. And we've already said that if we start seeing a steep peak in pricing and gas or gas shortages, the truck's full. We'll go over to Orscheln's, which is like a tractor supply company, and we'll buy all kinds of chicken feed. And that makes sure that we have plenty of chicken feed for the chicks so they can eat, so we can eat. We'll eat the eggs. If things were to happen now, we're not quite ready. The chickens aren't producing just yet. And then, of course, we're still experimenting with our garden. So I would say within the next year, we are going to be totally self-sufficient, where if something were to happen, we'd be completely okay. I guess the question is now, how can I help you? Rob, I live in the city. I live in an apartment. I don't have the ability to do what you're doing. I don't have the money to go buy a piece of property and move out in the country, or my job won't let me move. I lived in kind of a city area, and I still had solar panels. You can do things to minimize the impact these things can have on you. I only had 3 solar panels when I lived in the city. I didn't have a lot of energy, but I had enough that if something happened, I still had lights. I could run the refrigerator off and on, run it 15 minutes, let it go for a few hours, run it 15 minutes, let it go for a few hours. And it would extend the life of the freezer a little bit. And that's what I'm kind of suggesting that you might want to do. You can put a solar panel on your back porch. As long as it's facing south, and get yourself a little bit of energy. I remember one time when I was living in the city, we had an electrical outage, and I had my lights on. I didn't even think about it. Similar to what happens here. When the electric goes out around here, I don't think about it. I don't even notice that the electric is out. But there, of course, I did. I knew the electric was out, but I still had the lights on. And I wasn't really thinking about it. The lights were hooked to the solar panels, and a neighbor came on and said, "Do you have electric?" I said, "No, we're out of electric." "Well, how do you have lights?" And I thought, "Oh, yeah, the solar panels." So that does tell you that you can start the process of living off-grid and start working towards those steps. And the biggest thing about living off-grid is learning how to live off-grid. It took me years to learn this. I started with solar panels 15 years ago. Just today somebody asked me, "Have you ever considered building your own solar panels out of solar cells?" Yes, I have considered it, and yes, I have done it. It's the worst thing in the world. The panels break, it was a disaster. But I learned from that experience. And so here I am 15 years later, and I'm almost completely self-sufficient. So it's not a prepping channel. It's just self-sufficient. I don't need outside influences to help me survive. Like I said, I have a couple areas where I really struggle, but I think those areas are minimized so much that it wouldn't have a huge effect on us. And it's taken me years to get here. Not years on this property, but years of learning. So I hope I can inspire you to be able to overcome the next catastrophe. Thanks for watching.